Yep.
Okay, this is the January meeting of the Virginia-Highland Board of Directors. Present are members Berg, Huell, Ragland, White, and Lewis, and will be joined shortly by Ms. by Jess and by Lauren. We're going to just start off, though, that we do not have a quorum. We do not have to have one to officially make comments at the NPU on these two events because we don't normally take action. So we'll get going right away on our agenda, which begins with, I believe you're up first, sir. Y'all are up. Congratulations. SAP 15149, application of Doug Landau from Neighborhood Concepts to expand an existing patio into 4 existing parking places in the rear of the building. And we have a couple of questions for you, but you're on.
Well, yeah, I didn't really have a presentation per se. I was just really to be here to answer your questions. I can present you all background information regarding the parking spaces from the application process dating back several centuries. And I also brought along the plans. I don't know if you had seen the plans or not.
No, we didn't. I mean, we had a very crude drawing of them, and we extrapolated one.
I brought those along if you want to take a look at those.
Sure.
But just to show you what, I'll just lay them out here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like that, but just to show you what the impact is going to be as small as possible. The idea was just to minimize that. It's a small patio addition to the back of his restaurant. There already are several patios there that are stacked, and this one just comes out into the parking area a little bit. We relocated a dumpster to make that a little more efficient. But the idea mainly was to put it as efficiently as possible, to lose as few spaces as possible. And my understanding, based on the evidence that we presented you, and I've only been working with Doug for just a short amount of time, so his process goes back long before I got involved in this, but he's applied, received permission from the city. He's got more than enough parking spaces, so he can afford to lose, so to speak, those 4 without impacting the minimum number that he's required to have. So that's I guess the bottom line there. I've got site information, I've got some details and elevation to show you what it's going to look like. It's going to be a very nice little patio, wood structure, very pleasant. You can build a surround around the dumpster so it's not as obvious and evident, so it's not as visible to the surrounding streets as well. So the whole idea is just to kind of cloak it as pleasantly and aesthetically as possible for the small amount of the project that it is.
How many seats will it give you?
How many seats? Good question. I want to say it's going to probably about somewhere in the 20 to 30 range, maybe roughly. It's not even yeah, from the
How many does it
square footage standpoint, it doesn't even add requirements to adding in park. If you were at the bare minimum, the square footage wouldn't require him to add any more parking spaces. It's that small. So, but in the restaurant business, every square foot is gold. So.
Sure.
So in terms of the...
These are one of the patios that you did the earlier.
The
Outside
additional
bar.
facility license for.
So how many parking spaces are you filling up that you currently
I
have?
believe it's 4.
Right, that was my understanding as well. That may be correct about, you did send a nice written history of the previous allocation of parking spaces. I am curious though, there are 2 questions here it seems to me. One is whether you do require any more parking spaces. And secondly, I don't think it's a question that you do have to replace the 4 that you're losing because they count toward the existing requirement, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, the 4 there and the balance across the street.
Currently, all of our parking is zoned across the street. Those 4 are additional, is my understanding.
I see. So could you, I'll tell you what would be helpful to us, because the NC requirements, and you're in NC 11 or 13, I can never remember which is down there, require that the spaces be marked across the street, that is signed and put up there, and that the calculation be, so whatever the number is, and you just came through it, so
Sure.
you're arguing that those 4 didn't count, but I'm quite confident that when we went through it last time, that those 4 were counted as part of the number. But if they're not, then you have the same number, and we need to mark and assign that number across the street.
Okay.
And that means put up a sign according to the code. Now, that actually needs to occur with the other users. Last of all, want to pick on y'all. It needs to be done for 2 or 3 reasons. One is, first and foremost, the law says it, point blank and black and white. Secondly, it will help establish a common view and a common understanding of which spaces are there. And in fact, I don't think you're threatened at this point, because there's 100 over there or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
108.
But a number of them are assigned. The Warren has some. I don't think, let's see, who else has them? J&J's has a number of 15, 20, something like that. So we just need to get that marked so that everybody, y'all and everybody else will know exactly.
You want to strike the numbers, is that what you?
Well, they don't have to be striped. I think that the law says they need to have a sign up, a sign noting that this place is assigned during its open hours to meet the parking requirement.
Designation sign.
Right, that's a designation sign. And there are some in place down in Virginia-Highland, so you're not being singled out, but we are trying to work toward making sure everybody does it. There'll be no confusion in the future. If somebody else wants to come in and needs 75 places down there,
Right.
and none of them get double counted. There's a rich history, without assigning any blame or causal factors, which could be assigned conceivably, but there's a rich history all over the neighborhood of double, and all over every
Counting.
neighborhood of double counting.
Gotcha.
And so that needs to be.
Shock is gambling in the city.
Yeah, but we really do, and the city does expect it, and I think if you have any, just whichever ones, y'all, I think can pick them, y'all own them. Yes, I'm sorry, did you have a comment? No, secondary, that's correct.
The parking spaces behind the Dark Horse and for all the buildings that they support were grandfathered, like years ago. So I don't think you can make a deck that is not more than 25% of your inside seating and not requiring any parking spaces. However, if those parking spaces back there, those 4 that you're taking away, you can't do that because that's what grandfathering is about. You can't decrease the degree of nonconformity.
You can't take them away without replacing them.
Right.
That's correct.
It's
That's right.
not a big problem that I see it if you have extra spaces across the street.
Which we.
But you would need to show what the Dark Horse needs, what the Warren needs, what all of those places that are supposedly across the street, and I'm not saying they're not. You should show those. And then if you have 4 extra spaces over there, then you should include them for the ones that you've taken away for what's behind the Dark Horse now.
Right. They can be adjacent. You can do one map and say that those 4 and the others are elsewhere. And that would be the simplest way. And then based on my understanding, y'all are closed on Sunday, right?
Correct.
So those spaces are eligible for
That's
sale and use by others of the parking lot operator on Sunday, but they're not in theory. Now, we know in reality it's very difficult because people venture to multiple establishments and nobody's over there tracking anybody, but I do want to keep track of the gross macro level number there to make sure we're all on the same page, because someday we will run out, maybe, I don't know, could be, maybe not. So is that agreeable? Can y'all come back with a map of that? It's an easy to make map. In fact, I think we have a copy of it, but.
I was gonna say, I think you may already have that.
Well, we have our own master copy of what we think the reality is in the documents that support it, but y'all have a good set of records here, and I prefer that you calculate it, and if we disagree, we'll let you know.
So,
that
takeaway is bring back a plan showing number of parking spaces in each of the properties relative to the required number.
And I don't think that's hard. I believe that information is clearly known, but if you have any doubts, I don't think that'll be hard. That's not a burden that's going to require hours in the courthouse. I think Mr. Landau knows it quite well, and he's a good, careful, he manages his assets carefully historically, so I think he will know.
When is the next review period?
So you're back formally for a recommendation, which is why we could start, though we now have a quorum, but next Monday at the NPU, a week from tonight, which is ML King Day, but the NPU is meeting at 7, and you know certainly where it is and can get
I was
there.
afraid you were going to say 3 months from now.
No. This is in a cycle that all goes together. So I mean, there's plenty of time. I don't think this is onerous. If you find it so, you'll write me. I will be glad to sit with you and maybe we can make it less onerous, but I don't think it is.
No, it
I
should
don't think it, y'all had it in hand last time,
Mhm,
so.
mhm.
And so, and then with the plans, that we're gonna put the little signs up.
Okay.
And it may be easier to put one long, there's no requirement, it doesn't have to be one sign per space, but it could be a long bar that says whatever's easiest, you know.
Okay.
And economical, y'all can work that out. Is that good?
I guess I can't complain.
Well, I think also before you come to the MPU, you should have the signs out there, because actually this has been the law since MC was,
2010, I think.
and it's never happened. So I think it would be nice if it was actually out there before we gave the approval to it.
In any case, that's where we're at, so we would
The
appreciate.
signs can be made and put up, I guess.
Well, you don't need so many signs, you could say spaces 1 through 10 are reserved for blah, blah.
Well, why don't y'all just think about how you want to do it, and you could, there's a number of ways we could think of, and we'll let y'all figure that out.
Sounds good.
Is that good enough? All right, so are there any other comments or questions for this applicant? I think those are going to be our only comments next week. If we, for some amazing reason, discover some astonishing set of facts, we will contact you prior. We will not surprise you at 7:15 next week, so.
No Indian burial mounds or anything like that, I think there's
No,
no
no.
national, no endangered species on the site as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
Some
that's
pigeons, but they're not.
All right, thank you very much,
You want me to leave the plans with you?
You know what, I just got this copy from Lola, and I see that we have them. If that's an extra set, we'll take them. If
It's
you-
an extra set. You
I
can have it.
appreciate that very much, thank you so much. You never have enough. Thanks. See you next Monday. Debbie was
Same
not-
time? Same with
Yeah,
you?
it won't be here. It's Bill said, Debbie knows, if you write Debbie, if you want to know, she can give you a better idea of the thing. It's not, it's being improved.
Sure.
The speed, it's being quickened, so it used to be quite a long ordeal. All right, so.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
good evening. All right, our second application is application of Tom Catherall of Taco Cowboy. Whatever, my bad, LLC, at Tom Tom's Tapas and Tequilas, I got that right at least, at 1000 Virginia Avenue for beer, wine, and spirituous liquors permit. Sir, the floor is y'all's.
Well, I owned it for 16 years, and I never had one violation on the license. In my divorce with my ex-wife, she bought the restaurant, run it for about 10 months, and closed them all. Take them back.
So you've answered one question we would always ask, which is, have there been any appearances for any liquor code violation at any point anywhere in your career? And what is your training policy?
Well, the same one we've used in here to serve restaurants for 20 years, where we train all the staff. You ID anybody under 30.
How do you know who's under 30s?
Well, we tried IDing everyone, but some people get annoyed, like, I'm 66, you know, and I have to show my license every time. So you know that somebody your age is not 21.
Not that we're picking on you. Old and slow, right here, buddy.
The ladies, will-
You can pick on any of us.
the ladies, will-
Yeah,
I mean,
I always think they're.
I've never had a liquor violation. Then we have the parking space in the back with valet, and it's not expanded, it's the same size footprint.
I don't think we have any other questions other than, if you could come in, let's see, did you, I didn't see.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you Monday, but I didn't see in there the square footage of your space. And what we're trying to do is ask, if your grandfather,
Yeah.
there's no argument about that.
It's 1,200 feet.
1,200 square feet, all right. We're trying to keep track of, we prefer it if the applicant tells us what they think the square footage is.
I know it is where the rent.
Well
Let's
done.
do it then.
Any questions for Mr. Catherall? All right, sir, we will,
I would
we
vote
will,
seven in the neighborhood again. Thanks for
we're,
your,
Glad to have you back.
Yeah.
we're glad.
glad to be back.
you're welcome to take another cookie with you.
Please, one for the road.
No,
Or several.
It's
Monday, now I
You have your tea for
We're
breakfast?
going to eat. I'm like, oh, this is my good day. Now we messed up. Nice to meet you all. Bye, thanks.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Have a good
next,
night.
next week.
All right, see you Monday.
Back to the agenda. I have planned a fairly short meeting here and we're doing fine, but we will post the 2016 goals essentially unaffected as every committee has submitted them. I mean, a few grammar changes, but nothing astonishing at all. And a little bit of it shortened just to make them easier to comprehend, and they'll be up this week. We'll discuss them next month. And a few of them we have made some progress on. Parks Committee, I'm going to report for David. We actually have not submitted yet the Park Pride application that we expected to have in. We did turn it in on time, but they've come back to us and we are resubmitting it. It wasn't.
Did they ask for something?
No, we had had a discussion with them at the site visit and voiced some interest in some things that were not, for various reasons, were not yet in the application. And they encouraged us to take extra time, resubmit, and add to the application. So I'm optimistic. We have those plans ready. Peter Frawley has drawn them. The only significant change, which I think will be a very good one, and I do want this board to approve it, is the creation of a sitting wall, the 20-inch sitting wall that we've used all over the playgrounds up there, that will go from actually the corner on Barnett. There's a small memorial on Barnett just around the corner that was built there for reasons unclear, but it's awfully handy. And we'll go around the corner at the corner of Barnett, and it will go all the way down along Barnett, all the way to the next to last memorial. At that point, the grade is gone. It's essentially flat. And this will not only provide another sitting wall for folks to hang out on, but it will more fundamentally end the problem of all the mulch and ground cover that we've put on over the years, sliding down, especially in rain events, onto the street, which we have to clean up all the time and replenish. Eventually, it will fill in, but we're in no hurry to do it, the area behind the wall. But it will also, there may be a very small gap beside one wall. If you happen to walk down there up at the Barnett end, you can see a very large tree next to where the wall would end, and the city arborist is going to come and visit and tell us if we can put that wall there. We omit it. Either way, there's not much debris coming in.
Not the wall on Barnett, so we have that sidewalk that does that half moon shape through the barn.
Yes, yes.
So the wall will start on this
We'll start at the Virginia corner. The Virginia corner, there is a memorial there. It's not, I say a memorial.
So it doesn't really go down Barnett Street towards
No,
that
no,
sidewalk,
it's
it's
3
just
feet,
down there.
3 or 4
Okay,
feet
okay,
around.
okay. That was my
And
question.
it'll actually stabilize the planting platform on that corner, which is quite nice, but it'll formalize it as it's done at the other end. And it'll be awesome. And it's not inexpensive, but we're still working, and we'll have time to come back to this group next month on the 11th. We are aware that only $35,000 has been appropriated as the maximum grant application. There's another 100,000, but of which we would do 50, but I don't think it's going to come to that, even with this new wall in there. And the only difficulty with this deferral is that it's substantially ended some things that needed to be done in the dormant season are simply not going to get done this dormant season because the grant won't be awarded to mid-March. But we remain optimistic. We think it's cool. And the only other thing we're contemplating, and this would kick it, is that we've looked at, and we haven't come to this board with, but talked to all the visitors on the tour, right there in the middle of the park where the large sweet gum fell, where there's an opportunity to put a rain garden in the street, about the width of this table, a little wider, would not interfere with the coming bike lane there at all. That would absorb all the stormwater coming down the street. It would be at the cost of 2 parking places.
That's not in front of the electrical outlet, is it?
No, it's further to the west. It doesn't interfere with access. We would never touch the electrical.
My shuttle touched it in front of the electrical.
No, ma'am, we would not touch that. It's well over, that's at Green Cove. This is down almost in the middle of the park. There are 2 things. It would be a rain garden. I mean, we could plant it. It would be beautiful. And since the sweet gum fell and busted the trees, as David reported last year, that whole area is opening up. There's a cherry tree that's dying that's coming out of there. And it'll provide just a dramatic new entrance. Now, over time, that will grow back in, but that's the evolution of a field and a park. And so the city of Atlanta wholeheartedly supports this idea. They think it's great. That's why phone calls are being returned so slowly. And endorsement letters are creeping in so enthusiastically. But we hope to pull it off, and it would not be terribly expensive. The curb would have to be redone. But if that happens, we might be back here next month with more begging for more dollars, but I think right now we're feeling good. And if we can pull this off, I'll reiterate, the goal is, particularly with this wall in front, we really think we're gonna end significantly all the stormwater flow leaving that park everywhere, except along the sidewalk strip, can't touch, that's not ours. But beyond that, I think the flows that land in that park will stay in that park. And that would be a great example for us to set. And that's, stormwater management loves this, public works is, it's a great idea, they're saying. So that's it. Fundraising committee.
One second,
Yes, I'm
you
sorry.
started your discussion saying there's going to be a motion, and
Oh, thank you
is there
very
a
much.
motion?
Yes, I would like a motion to support the addition of the wall that I just described along Virginia, from almost at the middle of the memorial, it's all the way to the corner of Barnett. And there may have to be an architectural adjustment for the tree, we'll figure that out as we go forward. And that is my motion. Is there any discussion or comments or questions from anyone?
So it's a motion to support the addition of the sitting wall to the
Right.
grant application?
To the scope of the project.
To the scope of the project, right? sure,
Okay.
Yeah. But I think we're still within the grant limits, we're fiddling with things. But, and there'll be another, we'll have the whole thing in hand and down to the last penny and dotted I and T by next month. Because it's not due the 15th of next month, we meet on the 11th, we'll have it right here to look at. This is all, no questions and comments, all in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. On to the fundraising committee page.
We are about to kick off our first meeting for Summerfest. That will be the first full weekend in June this year, and that meeting will be on the January 20th. So really excited to get that going.
And Pam will be there.
I'm sorry?
And Pam will be there.
Pam will be there. Pam Pautner is going to be there.
She's on a leave of absence for a few months from her corporate job, which, whatever it means for her, it means good things for us.
Yeah, we can be greedy with her time.
So that's always very nice.
Believe it or not, we're kicking off Tour Homes on January
You're
27th.
next.
So at this time of year, we look for our sponsors with the deepest pockets, because that level of sponsorship usually needs to be budgeted for them to have it for us, even though it's way at the end of the year. And our home selections, we're starting on our home selections. And recruiting for the committee. We have several significant holes we need to fill.
And I think most people here know, but Angelica's going to step back away next year. She did a lovely job with Robin for a number of years, but she needs to move on, and that happens, and we'll miss her, of course, usually. But I'm sure she'll be around. I don't think we'll.
I think she's going to participate in a small.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we know the bottom line figures on the tour homes yet?
Do you know the expense number for
The
the
net,
tour?
yeah, because we know the net, we know the gross. We didn't. I'm not sure why this has to be reported before last year's Summerfest gets reported.
We can talk Summerfest while we're on this.
No, let's not.
Okay, tour income. Looks like, 42621.
You're talking about,
That sounds.
wait a minute, you're talking about gross or net?
No, she's talking about net.
Net,
That sounds a
okay.
lot low. That sounds
That's
like
too
almost
low.
15,000 less than I would
Well,
have
and then
expected.
the expenses were 11,764.
How much, 11?
11,764.
Okay, let me do that. I'll send out
So
the thing.
let me say that we don't know. But
We will
we know the
know
range.
next month.
Oh, okay, actually,
It should be.
it's 42,620 less 11,764 for expenses, plus sponsorships.
Second.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
But it's good news.
it's good, it's good.
Plus 40 for sponsors.
It's up there.
No, plus a little less than 40 because of whatever fee, so.
It looked like the highest net to me ever. And if it didn't, can you manipulate figures to make it up?
Yeah, it looked great. And
I was
I'm
expecting-
sometimes reading off the
yeah.
phone doesn't work as well.
I was expecting somewhere between 56 and 58.
Sounds about right.
It's astonishing, given that
That's great.
you could have been in this room a decade ago, and we're not sure if we made any money. It was awesome, awesomely good.
But did I send you the tour homes, everything that we got in books? That's a good statement. I'll send you a statement.
All right, the calendar's in front of us, and there are no huge surprises on it, and it's regular stuff, and we'll move through that without questions. On the new business, Jan, you please introduce yourself by all means. Why are you here?
We're Peter and I, we just moved into the St. Louis place about 3 weeks ago, but we signed up for the email list and just thought we'd come and see what's happening in the neighborhood.
Oh, here we are.
Really just to say hi.
We thought
And
we'd
like,
come
you're
say hi
welcome.
and introduce ourselves.
Well, just let us know your email address and we're happy to put you to work.
What committee?
I think you're on Summerfest. Which we're hoping, so I just signed up for help. Here, have this
I brought
letter.
the- I brought this book.
Exactly.
Same committee or both different committees?
Different.
Different, okay. We can arrange that. Could we get your, seriously, get your contact
That's what we
info?
did, really, we just.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
And wanted to,
Where
are y'all moving from?
Washington DC.
Oh, nice. What part of the city?
DuPont Circle.
Sure.
Great. But I'm from here, well, from Atlanta originally, grew up in
nice.
Marquette, and have family in Green Hills, so,
Excellent,
very excited to be back in town.
awesome.
You've got, it's a cool neighborhood. How long have you been back?
We moved in just before Christmas, we had a little 3.5-year-old.
Oh, fun.
Wow, very interested in the park renovation.
And
You were
the
just talking
school.
about.
Yeah, exactly,
Schools, good
exactly.
Exactly.
That was really just coming by to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, and the Forest Service and NRCS might have some programs that could help with rain garden.
Yeah, we're confident we can build a beautiful rain garden if we can just get the city to quit saying it's a great idea and write us a letter supporting it so that we can get it through the grant process. Because that's really, and they do officially support this stuff, but whether they will actually do it or not, we'll see. And the council member supports it, so it's all good, but it's not common yet. They aspire to great things. It's easier to aspire than it is to do them. But this is a wonderful place because we'll lose 2 parking places only that are used only at big school events. So it's really no pain here, unlike sometimes there is pain with that. And that is all the official business I have. I will ask board members to hang around for a executive session afterwards, but that is it unless there's any other new business comments or queries.
That's like a record, Jack. 7:29.
Well, we're aiming at
Yeah, it's usually a bit longer. And we also usually have police come and give an update to.
That's nice.
Mhm.
City council.
It's usually more crowded too. This is sort of a lean team. Yeah, it is a little more crowded than this. I think the weather probably
Well,
scared
they have
some.
You're finally
We
got
had the
cold.
football championship tonight.
Oh, yeah, forgot,
Yes.
yeah, so.
Well, we're looking.
Well, thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Are we officially adjourned?
Introduce ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jack, are we officially adjourned?
I think we're officially done with the meeting. Yeah,
Can you take a cookie for the road?
please.